Insurance rates in the last several years have gone from understandable to downright unbelievable in some areas. With all the natural disasters and craziness happening in the world, there's no real surprise why insurance companies are taking every single opportunity to jack up rates for everybody. If you did the do-it-yourself method on insurance policies without any professional help, it's really frustrating because anytime you attempt to reach out to the insurance company, you're usually being rerouted 5,000 miles away to a call center who really has no compassion and or empathy towards your situation. And the reality is that is not the way to do business. There is one thing you can do though that will put you back in the driver's seat, having a little bit more control and agency over your insurance life. And it will likely save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars every single year. But before we get there, hi guys, I am Max. Thanks for checking out my channel. I have been a licensed professional insurance broker for over 10 years now, since 2014, and I have seen the good, the bad, and the very, very ugly parts of the insurance industry. And I'm here to share some secrets and tips on how to save money and simply make your insurance life a little easier, because the reality is nobody wants to spend more on insurance than they have to, and insurance is rather boring. So hopefully this can be a little bit more of a interesting and fun way to save money on insurance. Without further ado, let's dive into that one thing. Think about it like this. If you were to go to the court and you needed some type of representation to go in front of the judge and plead your case, are you going to do that and represent yourself, or are you going to hire a qualified attorney who is a professional in the world? I'd like to think most of you and myself would choose to be represented by an attorney who knows what to do. They understand the process and they can help you in your situation. The same thing goes for insurance. If you've done the do-it-yourself DIY method, I call it, the reality is having a professional walk you through the steps on actually how insurance works is very helpful. And searching on your favorite search engine questions about insurance, boy, I've seen these forums and message boards, and almost all of it is incorrect because they found the answer from online sources, not from actually working in the industry. So the reality is having an independent insurance agent is going to help you immensely in many, many ways. Here are the 7 ways that an insurance broker is going to make your life a whole lot easier. All right, number 1 is an employee versus a business owner. Going with a company directly, which is what the DIY method is, means you're going to deal with an employee. And I'm sure you guys well know that an employee cares about the business insofar to make sure they're paid every Friday and every single 2 weeks, right? The reality is when you're dealing with a business owner, which is what most independent agents are, they usually are self-employed business owners. So they have an incentive, because the reality is an employee is going to be paid whether or not you buy or service the policy through them. An independent agent usually is only paid if they own the place. They are only paid if you end up buying the policy. So they have big and gigantic incentive to help you throughout the process. The reality is if you're not wowed and impressed by your agent, then they're not doing their job correctly. And the reality is there's another independent agent probably right down the road who's going to wow you and impress you in regards to insurance. So if the first one doesn't cut it, go to number 2. If number 2 doesn't cut it, go to number 3. So again, employees versus business owners. I'd much rather deal with the owner of the business because they're definitely almost always going to give you way better service than a normal employee. All right, reason number 2 to use an independent agent is to access multiple quotes. What's great about our free market system is you have the ability to choose whether you want to buy your groceries at store A or store B, or store C for that matter. There are multiple options, and that's what makes our market free and very, very good for consumers like you and I. This is why independent agents are so important, because they're able to not just look at one company, which likely if you did your DIY insurance, you only are dealing with one company. However, independent agents usually have access to half a dozen up to a dozen different companies that they can compare and contrast to see what's going to be best for your situation. So this is why it's so important to use an agent, because when you're dealing with an employee at a gigantic corporation and calling into a call center usually thousands of miles away, the reality is they're not going to give you the TLC or ask the right questions to uncover information to actually give you the correct policy and give you the correct options. Again, if an agent is doing their job correctly, they will ask very sometimes intrusive questions, maybe, to understand your situation. And believe me, they're not doing it because they really want to be intrusive about your life. They're doing it because there are so many things in insurance that if you don't dot your I's and cross your T's, you can end up in hot water as a consumer. And asking these questions makes it so they can give you the appropriate amount of coverage and the appropriate amount of everything on the policy. So again, free market is great because you have multiple options. Independent agents give you those multiple options. All right, number 3 is service across the world or down the street. Nearly all DIY insurance companies have a call center that is thousands upon thousands miles away. They usually don't speak very good English, and they have almost no knowledge of insurance insofar to what their job title is, which is usually very, very minute and easy things that you can teach someone. And have you tried to have a quick service on a 1-800 line recently in recent years? My goodness, the last one I was on was at least 30 minutes. Yeah, my time and your time is a lot more valuable than that. So let's compare that call center across the world to your agent across the street. Maybe it's not across the street, but maybe in the same town. The reality is agents are usually smaller offices, which means when you call somebody, a real person picks up, and usually they can resolve whatever issue you have or service or whatever it may be in a rather short period of time. So having the person down the road service your policy compared to across the world seems like a pretty good deal in my opinion. Number 4 is you are just a number on a spreadsheet. To large insurance companies, the reality is you are one customer among 100, 1,000, or tens of thousands. So again, when you're dealing with the employee in the call center, do you really think they care if you go and have your insurance elsewhere? Spoiler, they don't. When you're dealing with an independent agent, often you're going to realize that you're one of a select few in their agency. Now, they may be a large agency, but the reality is you usually have an account manager who has a book of business, and you're going to be in that book of business. The reality is one insurance agent can only handle so many clients, so you're far more important to keep as a client than these large insurance companies. Problems? Good luck. Number 5. With large insurance companies, if there's a legitimate problem with the billing, the coverage, a policy change, the reality is it is sometimes almost impossible to make these changes over the phone. Call centers are notoriously bad at actually accomplishing what they need to accomplish. A call center is great when we're talking about something very, very simple, but the reality is insurance is quite complex, and call center employees do not have the knowledge or the expertise to deal with pretty much any problem. When you have an agent, they, in my previous example about you going to court needing an attorney, they can more or less be your advocate to the insurance company when things are not going as planned. As an insurance broker, I've dealt with this many times when insurance companies are dragging their heels on paying out claims, on responding to emails, phone calls. The reality is when you call a insurance company as an individual, the DIY method, the reality is you're one client of literally thousands upon thousands. Your problem is likely not going to be resolved, and if it is going to be resolved, it's going to be resolved with lots of threatening from you and a lot of time and effort into making that problem resolve. When an agent calls on a customer's behalf, likely the insurance company is doing hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of business with this insurance agent. When an agent calls on a customer's behalf, this is where things can start changing, because the reality is the agent and the insurance company have a relation that's very different than the consumer to the insurance company. As an agent, I remember seeing carriers that were dragging their feet on anything, and when I called them, they realized, oh, Max is doing hundreds of thousands, and sometimes, depending on the carrier, millions of dollars of business with us. We're going to take his call and see if we can resolve the situation. That kind of leverage is very valuable to have. And you can tap into that leverage as a benefit of using an independent agent. Are you catching on that DIY insurance is not a very good idea? Yeah, I hope so. All right, number 6 is supporting local business. With all the talk on these gigantic corporations in recent years, turning gigantic profits and paying the CEOs and everybody gigantic sums of money, using an independent agent helps your local economy grow. And the reality is that independent agent likely employs 1, 2, or depending on how large it is, dozens of people. So using a local independent agent is helping your local economy grow, which again, if you could ever choose between going to the local one compared to the gigantic multinational conglomerate, choosing the local independent agent is something you can say, I'm supporting my local community. And the reason why you want to choose somebody local is number 7, there is a potential referral source. Whether you are a photographer, whether you are a notary, whether you own the best restaurant in town that serves the best steak, the reality is having an independent insurance agent as a referral partner, and maybe it doesn't start out that way, but simply building a relationship with the independent agent, guess what? We as agents deal with literally hundreds, if not thousands upon thousands of people local to our area. So that means your independent agent that you pay every single year for insurance and such could become your best referral source. Again, a symbiotic relationship. You're supporting the agent, which is supporting local economy, which in turn, as an insurance agent, I was always the first person to find the best whatever it was in the area and recommend that service to all of the clients. So just like you want to support local business, independent agents are in their DNA supporters of local business because that's who we deal with each and every single day. So you might be able to pay for your premium in new business from your brand newest referral partner, which is your independent agent. There are many things in life that you can do yourself. Painting your kid's bedroom wall, maybe some very, very small plumbing issues, very, very basic. When it comes to insurance though, doing it yourself is probably one of the most silly decisions you can make in your financial portfolio. Hiring an agent can help you save money, as well as understanding a little bit more on what these insurance policies do, because the reality is searching on your favorite search engine and finding the answer there a lot of times is completely false. Thank you guys for watching. Looking forward to more videos in the future, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Take care, guys.